So we got here after dark last night. We got things set up, laid our heads down and had a good rest. We woke up this morning to this beautiful place. It's by the water. It looks like it's going to be another nice day, so the men folk are just putting away the tent. We're going to have breakfast and get going. We arrived at Louisbourg bright and early. Anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love pioneer villages, so this was a highlight of our trip. I've always felt that I was born in the wrong century. So of course I love the idea of stepping back in time and seeing exactly how they lived. Well, hello. How are you today? I have to admit, when I heard that voice, all I could think of was that it was Turk from Maya New Acres. Such a familiar sound. Boys, come see. So cute. It's a baby turkey.
We definitely had some baby chicks, but no turkeys yet. Our next door neighbor had some turkeys,
yes,
but
I heard the turkey when I was looking over the fence.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you're just giving it some water and keeping it warm?
Yeah. It was hatched in an incubator.
Okay.
So we're kind of waiting to see which of the female turkeys on site will kind of
take to it.
Take over the role of mother.
And fair enough, fair enough.
Like that. Hello, March. Who is this? Who is this, March? Hi, March.
Oh, she's talking to it.
Hi, March. This is a baby. You need it. Silly.
Aw. She's looking for the baby. I think Marge would make a great mom. What do you guys think? The firing of the flintlock was definitely one of the highlights of the boys' trip to Louisbourg. The other would be the firing of the cannon. What can I say? They're boys.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. You having a good day?
Yes.
Good. As you heard, my name is actually Biff Allen. I'm a soldier in the Cannoneer Regiment, which you can see there's different colors here. Different colors meant different regiments. Most of the soldiers here come from the streets of France. They're recruited out of the streets of France. They were crooks, bums, and vagabonds living in the streets of France. When they were asked to come to Louisbourg, they were promised beautiful weather, lots of good food, lots of money, lots of women. Surprise, surprise. When you get into Louisbourg, folks, the weather's not that great here. The food we're on ration. The money we were promised 9 leave a month. We get into Louisbourg, you get 9 leave a month. But there's a little complication. You got 7.5 leave of deduction for food, clothing, and lodging. It left you with a leave and a half. A leave and a half will buy you 1 leather shoe or a cheap bottle of wine. Let me tell you folks, I don't have many leather shoes. You know where my money was going. As far as the women, there's about 6 or 7 men to every 1 woman. So that's a pretty good setup for ladies around here. Not so good for a soldier. But all in all, when I get into Louisbourg, I find I live in that beautiful building there, the whole right-hand side. 16 to 24 guys per room. Talk about crowded. We cooked there, we ate there, we socialized there. Very crowded area. So that's where you'd live, and when you were on guard duty, which is a 24-hour shift, you were assigned to one of 5 guardhouses. But myself, I can read and write. You don't seem impressed. In the 18th century, most people couldn't read and write, and especially if you were lower class. Because I'm lower class and I actually can read and write, they picked me to go to cannoneer school. So I'm trained in geometry, mathematics, the angle of the cannon, the distance of the cannon. Anybody can fire a cannon. It takes a special art to hit a target. So that's what I would do. On my days off, we would practice on cannon. Every cannon was different. No 2 cannons were the same in the 18th century. You would have to load it up with 1/3 the mass of the ball, put it on a 45-degree angle and fire it. And where that ball hits is known as point blank range. You've all heard of point blank range? This is where it comes from. So what you do, you'd mark the field. So when you're ready to go to the cannon again, you know that this cannon will hit that spot at a certain angle and the right amount of powder. So if you want distance, you elevate the cannon up. If you want it to come shorter, you drop the cannon down. So it's quite an art, and plus I get paid very well. Remember we talked about a leave and a half for a regular soldier? I get about 13 to 18 leave a month.
Oh.
Plus right now it's wartime, so I've been promoted to a sergeant. Could make anywhere from 25 to 38 leave a month. Women find us pretty appealing, you know. It's not because of our looks now, it's because of the money. People married for money in the 18th century. Kind of like today, too, isn't it? Some things never change. Now, folks, we're going to talk about my uniform. This is known as a full uniform. So, first of all, I get a tricorn hat. We get 2 ties, or what we call cravat, 2 shirts, or what we call chemises, 1 vest coat, 1 justaucorps, 1 pair of breeches, 2 pair of woolen socks, and 1 pair of shoes. Now, folks, if you look at this, it looks pretty warm, doesn't it? Very hot in the summer, very cool in the winter. I call it a fall and spring outfit. Now we're going to talk about my implements. First of all, starting with a powder horn here. A powder horn was filled with fine grains of black powder and used for priming my musket. On my side is a cartridge pouch. Cartridge pouch consists of a bunch of cartridges, which is actually a paper tubing filled with about 100 to 120 grams of black powder. Plus, it also has a lead ball in it. On my back, you see I have a sword, plus I have a bayonet. The bayonet is locked on your musket and is used for the last charge of battle. The problem with the bayonet is a 3-sided bayonet. So when it's actually impenetrated in you, it creates a 3-sided cut. Give it a little turn, it doesn't come out very well because this is full of black powder residue. So it's very dangerous. The wound don't kill you, the black powder will. Anybody want to volunteer for a demonstration? Once in a lifetime opportunity, you know. Last, my sword. It's actually a saber. If you look behind me again, behind yourself again, you see the gentleman over there, he has a straight sword. Mine is quite different. It's actually an art. This is actually a symbol of authority. He actually has the authority to arrest people and put them in jail. So be on your best behavior here today. The sword, the saber rather, it's actually a rounding in it. It's used actually for dueling. A little bit different than the regular soldier. Last but not least is my musket. It's what we call a 1734 Grenadier musket. It's also known as a tow musket because they're made in tow frame. Flintlock, see the flint here? Smooth bore, similar to a modern day shotgun. And they're muzzle loaded, she loaded at the end. First of all, I put a little black powder in my pan, close the prison, take a cartridge from my cartridge pouch, tear it, pour it down the barrel, black powder goes in first, lead ball falls in, then you drop in the paper tube. Pull out the ramrod, and then you pack it all down. Now that the musket is completely loaded, you have to put it on full cock. Ever heard the famous saying, don't go off half cock? Don't. So what you do, you have to pull it on full cock. What I do this time, I pull the trigger, the flint will fly ahead, straight into prison, creating a spark which drops down into my pan, going to a small little touch hole at the breech of the barrel. Now here's another favorite thing. If this little touch hole gets blocked off, my pan goes off, my musket doesn't, we have flash in the pan. Accurate about 50 yards, go from here to the corner of the building down there, you could hit a target the size of a grown man's chest. Good musketeers could fire 3, 4 shots a minute. I say 3 shots a minute, 4 when I'm being fired at. Motivation's a wonderful thing, you know. So there you have it, folks. Another favorite saying: lock, stock, and barrel. Now we got to line you all up for a musket demonstration. Everybody gets nervous. I don't know why. Everybody stay right where you're at there. I'm just going to step out here and do my thing, they call it. Oh, water target. Red is very easy to see, sir. The birds wore red. Red and black, actually. Take my cartridge. Eric. Pour a little black powder in my pan here. Hold the prison. Take the remainder. Pour it down the barrel. And a little black powder. Now, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We get him? Nobody moving out there. Folks, if you have any questions, fire away. Bad choice of words. Have any questions, folks? If not, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Here are some artist depictions of Louisbourg back in the time period. While we were touring, we learned that this was the governor's private bedroom, though guests were sometimes received here as well. I thought it was neat to learn that the hand-carved paneling of this room was installed to reduce dampness, but it also cleverly hid the doors of a dressing closet and a small cabinet used to store valuables. I also thought it was kind of interesting that after his death, he was buried underneath the chapel. These are the 2 rooms provided for the officers, not quite as fancy as the governor, but there was still some really neat items in the room, like this sink for washing. The kitchen looked like it would meet the needs of any officer of the day, for sure.
We had a very long paddle.
I noticed there was a huge difference between the soldiers' barracks and the officers' rooms. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you folks doing? Good. This here in the barracks for the soldiers. Very cozy living quarters, you can see. Have 3 men assigned to each mattress. Typically not all 3 sleep at once.
Okay, well that's better.
Yeah. 2 would sleep for the night and the 3rd person works for a 24-hour variation.
24 hours.
We got 24 hours on, but 2 days off. 48 hours off.
We could take 2 days.
And that works for 3 people in the bed. So when that one person finishes their shift, it's going to punch and swap. And then the other person's going to go for 24 hours. You're going to rotate every day. Bed's always nice and warm when you come back.
Because the other person's just getting out of it.
Exactly. Not your hot pumpkin in here. You need all the heat you can get. The window's pretty drafty and our firewood ration. Most are just using it for cooking. Try and cook towards the end of the day, so you can sleep with a little bit of embers from the fire.
Wow.
We're doing all of our own cooking in here as well.
Got some rubber shoes.
It's kind of like your 18th century steel toe.
Gotcha.
It's lighter, cheaper, more durable than these shoes right here if you have to wear for a uniform. But if we're on our days off, we're going to be doing some odd jobs to make a bit extra money. Say working on the wall. If we're working on the wall and a wrap drops on our foot, we work those and not these.
Sure.
Bet you definitely wear those.
Yeah. You'll see everyone in Europe and 18th century wearing those.
It's practical. You do.
And they last forever.
Exactly.
And then you can make a boat out of it when you're done.
You could, yeah. You can get an awful lot of those things. They float in the water though, which is nice.
If it comes off, you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how to swim. So let's say we're on a boat and we fall out, we drown, but the shoe is full and the next one gets them.
After the tour of the soldiers' barracks, it was the big moment we had been waiting for. It was time to take our place in the march across town to see the cannons firing. Are you ready?
Well, here's the engineer that all the entertainers
Are we going the right way?
The crowd is officially controlled, so I agree.
Are we going the wrong way or are we okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which way are we supposed to be going?
Well, would you like to go and have a look at the kitchen?
Okay.
Just watch out. I think the servants are coming through with my lunch.
Oh,
What otherwise?
Are you here for lunch?
Wait, yes.
Was it easy for dinner?
looks very good.
It's well, I will let you know if the engineer's son doesn't like it. We might be fired. So this is the kitchen.
Nice.
We just finished cooking up the cream actually. So we made some rhubarb and then we had some cream for pastries.
Yep.
Pastry cream, and then we made our batter and we're just cooking the crepes now.
Nice.
Split this before it's ready.
It looks like you got some.
Well, it looks like you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
This is not coffee beans.
Coffee, cinnamon, this is chocolate.
Oh,
And then these are chocolate balls after they've been melted down and spiced.
Mhm.
With sugar on it.
nice. Interesting.
Yes, the engineer is very important and very rich, so
Okay.
all the best.
So water or
Yes, water. So the wells here are very polluted, so every morning the male domestic has to go and bring this to the river outside the walls, fill it up with water, and then bring it back here.
Wow, that'd be fun.
and I saw one of these in one of the other places.
Yeah, this is our spit jack. So this will go here, and then we crank this rock up to the ceiling. And as it falls down, it spins this, which will then turn all these gears, which turns the chain, and we put the spit there on the chain. And so it's like a rotisserie. If we put a meat on the spit, then it'll turn in front of the tire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
saves us the job of having to sit there all day and do it. So
Neat.
creative.
Nice.
That's thinking.
The engineer's going on her spiel. Let's hear the spiel.
Oh yes.
Thank you.
What can I do for I'm putting you on the spot, of course. You didn't get a chance to rehearse your answer. I asked one fellow where he was from, and he said some weird Ontario. He made up a word. He made up a word that made no sense. But speaking in tongues is not entirely inappropriate in this period, so no worries. Yes, indeed.
So you're an engineer?
I am indeed, sir. Yes.
Yes, and so are you a land engineer or mechanical?
Well, sir, in the 18th century, there is a bit of a blurry line of engineering. In my particular role right now, I'm basically an assistant military engineer to our chief engineer. But it's been going on in European society for a long time that the people that do engineering in war are the same ones that do civil engineering in peace. Because they're the ones with the scientific and technical skills to do so. Yes, I hope so. I'm going to eat it.
This is dinner.
If it's not real, I'm going to eat it anyway. I'm that hungry. But my servants just came in. They served me up this little bit. It has a little bit of cream cheese and rhubarb compote, and they are crepes. What do you think? So I'm having pancakes for lunch. Oh, okay.
Red?
Two little ones?
Which kind?
50-50, half whole wheat, half white. This is 80% whole wheat, 20% rye. Bliese.
Ok. Tout ça, moi, celle-là. Ouais.
Alright.
I think so. Do you want the heavy bread or the light bread?
Thank you.
It says the light bread.
Alright. Hello. Is this, that's the white and this is the whole?
No,
This is whole
raw
wheat.
solid white.
Okay.
This is half white, half whole wheat.
Okay,
And this 80% whole wheat, 20% rye.
okay. Alright, so what is the, how much is
So-
that?
Sorry?
How much is that?
Big ones are $5. Little ones are $3.
Okay, I'm gonna go with $5 because little ones are little.
Well, I think we should try a few of these little ones though. See
You
what
wanna
it's
try
like.
the
It's
rye?
heavy duty.
You want the heavy duty? Okay.
So
wanna
can I get a?
I want a large one, and
Okay.
you want a little one, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, so,
Can we get a large one of these, the whole wheat with
Yep.
it, and then a little one of that, I guess.
alright, so $8, please.
Okay.
He's just setting up the fire for tomorrow.
So how full would you fill the fire?
What's that?
How full would the fire be filled, like tonight?
About 400 to 500 pounds of wood. Yeah. Yeah. So we start the fire at 6 in the morning, and like when we start the fire, all the bricks are black. But as the temperature increases, they all turn white.
Yep.
So once all the bricks are white, we start raking the embers out, and they just go in the ash pits below. Then we clean the oven with the big mop you see hanging up there. So that gets rid of any residual embers and ashes that the rake couldn't get. It also adds steam to the oven, so we get the crust on the bread, and it brings the temperature down for us. It's about 800-900 degrees when we have the fire going, so we want 500 degrees on the roof and then 430 degrees on the floor. So the mop obviously helps us with that. Cornmeal gets placed on the floor. If the cornmeal burns, you know, the oven's still too hot, so then you would do another mop, and that's how they would test the temperature.
Nice.
And then after your once you get it to optimal temperature, we still use the cornmeal so the dough balls don't stick. Squish them all together on the end of the peel, and then we give the peel a quick jerk. They sit right on the brick. About 45 minutes later, it comes out pretty good, pretty perfectly.
How many can you fit in there?
Those 6-pound loaves you see there, on like the basket there, we could fit 75 in each oven, and then we would do 2 bakes. So 300 every day, 75 in each oven, 2 bakes.
We can't fit that much here.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The
Not-
floor's original too, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. And the well in the corner of the room is also original from the foundation down. Still holds about 6 feet of water. I wouldn't recommend taking a drink of it, but yeah, it's original.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where do you need? Is that the
it would be
kneading
done,
trough? Yeah.
Please open up. You mix it all under here,
Yeah.
and then you close it. You
Let it rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big kneading trough.
This is how.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Thank you.